Hey guys, Comic Boom here to talk about Wonder Woman issue 38. This continues the saga of Wonder Woman and the adventures she's been having trying to get to the bottom of what Darkseid has been doing, going around trying to acquire different artifacts from around the world. She's got Steve Trevor looking into that. Meanwhile, last issue, it completed a sort of 6-issue story arc last issue where she defeated or at least managed to defeat or stop Grail and Darkseid from doing more havoc, but not before Darkseid ended up killing her father Zeus, while her and Jason, her brother, looked on. Jason, of course, turned to the dark side a little bit before being brought to the light by Diana, being inspired by Diana's heroism in eventually being able to not defeat Darkseid and Grail so much, but at least prevent them from creating more havoc. Darkseid was successful in killing Zeus, and acquiring all the energies he needed to fully convert himself from a teenage Darkseid to a fully grown Darkseid that we all know and hate. So Darkseid's back in all his glory. And where this issue picks up, James Robinson said that the story of Darkseid and Grail and the brother, Wonder Woman's brother Jason, is not over yet, but this does begin a new story arc called Swan's Song, where this introduces us to the new rebirth origin of the Silver Swan. Now, those of you who know anything about Wonder Woman's lore, particularly in the post-crisis universe, George Perez created I believe brought the character Silver Swan into particular prominence, and this is a new origin for Silver Swan. And in this issue, we're introduced to a young girl that Wonder Woman rescues in a crisis, and her name is Vanessa Capitalis. That's what I'm gonna call her. It's Vanessa Capitalis. So the theme here is one of abandonment, and because this issue, all that really happens is it shows the motivations that leads to the creation of Silver Swan, and it juxtaposes that against Wonder Woman going back to her beachfront property, her beach house that Steve Trevor acquired for her at the end of the Greg Rucka run, and that Argus helped purchase some property for Wonder Woman on the Virginia coast, and it's a gorgeous beach house. Well, Jason, her brother, is there having a bunch. He's there and he's whooping it up. He's having a party life, and that pisses off Wonder Woman because she wants him to be responsible. He claims he wants to be responsible, but he can't help it. He's just a social guy and a party animal. So, but that upsets Wonder Woman a little bit. Wonder Woman actually calls her brother a nobody in this issue, if you can believe that. I mean, this is a woman who inspires many people. When it comes to family, she just has a tendency to treat them like garbage. And naturally, she wants more for Jason, but she was really disappointed that, she clearly basically admitted that she was disappointed when she met him because he was basically, and I quote, a nobody that was gutting fish on a beach. So that's Wonder Woman's, first impression. So no matter what else you say, James Robinson's Wonder Woman has a hard edge to her, and I think that's good because I always, I think even Rucka, in Rucka's attempts to make Wonder Woman appear so great, Rucka actually portrayed Wonder Woman, when you got right down to the nit and grit, as somewhat of a bitch, particularly the way she treated Veronica Cale and the indifference she had toward the fate of Veronica Cale's daughter. But that's just in keeping with that bitch of a character that flowed from Rucka's run into this one. So I like the fact that Diana has a little bit of a hard edge to her. She's got a little bit of an attitude. She's got a little bit of anger when she's talking to Jason. This is good stuff, But the theme here is of abandonment, and that's what this issue really talks about. Because Vanessa is a young girl that's rescued by Wonder Woman. She gets obsessed with Wonder Woman. She's a young girl that had a career. She was very artistic. She had a career in ballet, an up and coming dancer, and she got injured and she lost the use of her legs. And she's going to be she's entered into an experimental treatment, the same treatment that was apparently created by Cyborg, injecting nanites into her body that help heal her damaged spinal column. That gives rise ultimately to Silver Swan. But in this issue, it's more about a psychological drama of Silver Swan's mind, or rather Vanessa Capitalis's mind, slowly becoming darker and darker and darker as Wonder Woman becomes more and more busy doing superhero things around the world as a member of the Justice League and her own adventures. It becomes very apparent that she doesn't have as much time to spend with Vanessa, visiting her in the hospital, teaching her about Greek history, what have you. Wonder Woman's a very busy person. Vanessa, from her hospital bed, sees that Wonder Woman is helping and rescuing other young families, other girls, boys, etc., etc., and she becomes very jealous, and she feels abandoned, and she feels alone. To make matters worse, Vanessa's mother is killed in a car accident. We never meet Vanessa's mother, but it's revealed that Vanessa's mother is killed in a car accident. So Vanessa is truly and genuinely alone, and the aggravation of her psychological state of mind, the degradation of her mind, her growing depression and loneliness and isolation and feelings of abandonment, combined with the realization that Wonder Woman is likely going to spend less and less time in her life, really put her to a fit of depression because she becomes very jealous. Meanwhile, we juxtapose that against the feeling of abandonment earlier in the series with Jason. Jason is someone who his whole life he's had to stay in the shadows. He's had to hide. He's raised by a guardian named Glaucus, who the Amazons gave him Jason to take care of Jason, to keep Jason away from the all-knowing eyes of Zeus's wife, jealous wife Hera. Because if Hera were to find Jason, he could potentially be killed, because that's what jealous female gods do, apparently. It's not just human females that are psychotic, it's female gods too. But I digress. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. But anyways, so yeah, Jason's had this feeling of isolationism and abandonment himself. He's finally now, because of the previous arc, he's now being able to live in the world. He doesn't need to hide. But all he really knows how to do is to fight and to gut fish for a living. And so now he finds himself kind of living on a beach house with Wonder Woman's beach house, and all he's doing is partying, and he's looking for some purpose. And he still is, and it's quite clear that Wonder Woman's sort of disappointed that he doesn't know what he wants. And even all Jason I sense really wants to do is that he wants to go out and he wants to have adventures with his sister. But Wonder Woman is frustrated with that. Because she says, it's not all roses. It's not all roses and candy canes and parties. It's dangerous. This is not a good life. And she gives him an example. She says she's met a lot of people who just, they figure they got some powers and they want to help people and they just want to jump right into the game, and then they end up abandoning it after a while. And I agree with Wonder Woman on that, because I got to tell you, there's a character that I think Jason fits perfectly right now, and that's the Spoiler over in Batman. Spoiler is a perfect example of someone that was never good enough, still isn't good enough. Never good enough for Batman. She ended up getting killed because she was incompetent, because she was a whining, narcissistic, someone that didn't realize that she wasn't good enough, but she insisted that she was, and she still isn't. And Spoiler is like that. She's that Spoiler, that whining sort of type of personality that drives you crazy. I hated Spoiler, I still do. I was glad she was killed off. Unfortunately, she got popular because apparently there's a lot of fans that must be of similar disposition. Anyway, I don't get it, but Spoiler's back. But now naturally Spoiler got better, because let's face it, Spoiler had only one way to go. But that's kind of where Jason's at. Jason is kind of like he knows how to fight, but he was only taught by Hercules once in a blue moon, so he's probably a low to moderate level fighter to begin with. He knows how to control the oceans. The guy probably has more. He can control the tides a little bit. He can create waves. That's part of Jason's power. He probably has more in common with Aquaman than he does his own sister. So I don't know what he's gonna do, but if he's looking for adventure, he's probably going to have to do something different. I don't know where Jason Robinson is really taking Jason. I don't know where Jason's going to go, but it's somewhat interesting. There's a lot to mine here. Jason is basically a total blank slate right now. It's either DC has no clue what they want to do with him, or James Robinson, the writer, was just told by DC to leave Jason a blank slate because DC doesn't know what to do with him. So just leave him vague and out there. Jason right now, Jason doesn't have a direction he wants to go. But what's interesting in the pages of this comic book, and I want to give credit to James Robinson on, is he juxtaposes the abandonment that Silver Swan has, and that young Vanessa Capitalis has, and she decides to become villainous and murderous and become the Silver Swan, against the feelings of abandonment that Jason has, and Jason hasn't really decided yet. But we do know that the feelings of abandonment of Jason did cause him to initially partner up with Grail and Darkseid. So we know that the potential to make very bad choices lies within Jason. And so to be interesting to see what Jason will do moving forward. Is he going to go completely the dark route that Vanessa Capitalis did to become Silver Swan, or will he pull back? More importantly, or more specifically, I suspect that one of the people that could really help Wonder Woman against Silver Swan would be her brother Jason, because he might understand the feelings of abandonment and isolation and loneliness that Vanessa feels. And so, because Jason has really felt that in many ways his whole life, and that's one of the reasons why I think Jason, Wonder Woman's brother, is always so sociable. He's such a party animal. He's always seeking. He's always seeking some place to fit in. And when you're alone and you have, when you're feeling lonely and alone, it's natural for people who are always alone all the time to always seek some fun, to seek some adventure, to go out, to socialize. But you can socialize a lot, and still feel alone if you don't actually get to know people. And I think Jason is on that quest himself. And so Jason and Silver Swan might actually have something in common. And I think in that respect, I think James Robinson did a good job of sort of showing the juxtaposition of those two characters and how going forward they might interact in some way. There's potential here, and I'll give him credit for that. Guys, one thing I got to say about the art. The art is absolutely incredible. I haven't seen Wonder Woman drawn this beautifully in a long time. Emanuela Lepacino on pencils, Ray McCarthy on the inks, Romula Ferjudo Jr. on the colors, Seda Temafonte on letters, Paul Renard on the cover. Beautiful cover. I never got the alternate cover. My retailer never had it, but beautifully well done. Beautiful art, and you'll have seen the art because I'll put it as I did this reviews. I always put art as I'm talking once I edit it. A particularly gorgeous rendering of Silver Swan on the final page. Really good stuff, guys. This is interesting. I'm not sure where James Robinson's going to go with this, but I'm gonna stick with it. In the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and Comic Boom out.